Blue Cat Audio's FreqAnalyst Pro is a very cool and very free little frequency analyzer. FreqAnalyst is not only an accurate frequency analyzer, but it has some interesting functionality, like the ability to export signal data as MIDI, allowing for some interesting creative effects. Let's dig into that.
Yeah, so let's take a look at FreqAnalyst.
The FreqAnalyst.
And I did a video on this already, so we won't go.
Okay.
And there is actually another one coming out. There's a lot of features in this. But, you know, it's just a slick-looking plugin. Overall, I think that's the biggest thing about it. Other analysts don't always look as good for this cheap.
Yeah.
So we'll just play back something real quick. Here's the spectrum view. You can offset basically the loudness, so you can move it to a spot where it's easier for you to see. You can type in, you know, different levels for different things. Spectrogram is probably my favorite view.
Nice.
Everyone likes that. You don't get that in every analyzer. And output. This is basically telling you the pitch center of basically each of your channels. So now it's getting silent, so it's kind of freaking out. But if we go back, it's just telling you what's going on in each channel as far as pitch data.
Right.
And then they're summed together. And as long as you see they're pretty similar, you're doing all right. And pretty similar thing over here. It's summing together the all the different frequencies and telling you where the average where the most energy is across both channels, and it kind of jumps around. So it's getting lower, you see. So it gets, when it's down there, that means that the whole spectrum is sounding, you know, bassier.
Right. Gotcha.
So
that's cool.
You know, if you know you want your average to be around 500 hertz, you know, you can kind of use this to EQ it that way.
Nice.
So we won't go too in depth right now, but this brings up an interesting subject. And if you guys use frequency analyzer or anything like this, visual aids, to help you do any sort of your work?
I generally don't. Most of the work that I do is, like I said before, it's hip-hop. And when I'm composing an instrumental, generally I'm working with samples and things like that, and I don't have to really get into anything like this until I get down to the master. So in that sense, it could be, you know, pretty valuable for me, but I just haven't gotten into it. Part of the reason is I haven't wanted to spend money on one. Yeah. And this kind of solves that.
Yeah, this is a pretty affordable one. I believe you can buy like all their plugins for like $300-something.
Nice.
And
there is a free version of this.
Well, just FreqAnalyst. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also like digital peak meter.
Okay.
And there's a pro version of that. They do have, you know, some free plugins. Yeah, definitely one of the cool things you can do with this is set a parameter to to record basically an envelope data, and then you can assign that data to anything else. So you can kind of use it to basically write a fader for you.
Cool.
Nice.
What about you, Drew? Do you use?
I don't use it primarily for like mixing or anything like that. I do use frequency analyzers for actually figuring out what any sort of bias that my rooms have. I record in a lot of various types of rooms, from like dead rooms to, you know, medium-sized live rooms to very large live rooms. And what I'll do is I'll just take a very clean, dry signal of an instrument and then record the same instrument in a big room, and then run them both through the frequency analyzer and see what frequencies become biased, see what frequencies pop out. And then I know a little bit more about the room I'm dealing with and how to record in it, and more importantly, how to fix it.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool to do. One thing that might be kind of cool to do is that you could do with a frequency analyzer like this is you could record, say, an impulse response. You guys know,
right?
Impulse responses.
Absolutely.
Record one for a nice room, like the sweet spot between the speakers in a nice mixing room, and then bring that to your studio, play it back, freeze the data that comes up, and then you can open up another frequency analyzer and use that to move your room EQ, to EQ for your
Interesting.
room.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
so you can make your room sound.
Definitely. There's all sorts of things in here. There's a zoom feature that lets you really, you know, move into to the frequencies that you want to look at, and it gets pretty precise as well. You can control the precision to be low, so you can sort of see, how your ears would hear it, but you could also turn it up really high and be really critical and really like sort of scientific about it,
Right.
Because when there's like tiny little peaks, it's more, you don't really notice it. You more like feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So it allows you to tailor the data that you're seeing to what you want to do. Whether you're mastering, you might use less precision, but if you're like EQing a room, you might use a lot more precision.
Right.
Sure.
So,
Cool.
It's a pretty
That's
cool
sweet.
plugin.
That's sweet.
And we have one video up already, and we will have another video up probably next week. Just because there's a lot you can do with this. There's this whole matrix up here that we didn't even get to in the last video.
Wait, this is a Blue Cat. Is this free?
No, this is one of their paid plugins. You can get it from their site. They're all direct, downloads from the Blue Cat Audio website. So check out the Blue Cat Audio website if you are interested in purchasing any of their plugins, including the FreqAnalyst Pro.
And presently, they're just DirectX and VST, correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Gotcha.
So
Cool.
you got to have
a wrapper
PC.
or a PC. Yeah, PC.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
You could wrap it on Mac.
Don't quote me on this, but I'm not sure. I don't think they work on Mac.
Gotcha.